Pardon me and my tone. You can't step to my throne. They ain't working like me. I did this on my own. You asking where we been, huh? I don't know where to begin, huh? All this dirt on my skin. I just came here to win. I'm more than a man, I'm a monster. Somebody call a pastor, doctor. I got a sixth sense for imposters. So now I'm coming for the whole roster. It's not a game, why you playing with me? You could double back, lose track, try and hang with me. It must be in my veins, something you can't tame, cause I break the chains. Can't control me. I got the power, I got the keys, cause I break the chains. They try to hold me, I'ma push back, just wait and you'll see. Please excuse me, your honor, but you can't hold me no longer. Can't you feel the vibrations? I broke out and left traces. Go ahead, try to catch me if you can, man. You'll be looking all night, I'm the Sandman. New York, London to Japan. I'ma show the whole world who I am. Boom, boom, boom. Major look.
Once again, thanks for tuning in. You're listening to World Combat Sports. What's good, everyone? Salute to each and every one of you that's tuned in the building. Hit the like button. Pass the word for others to sub to the channel. I appreciate it. And also, if you'd like to donate, it's always welcome. Of course, we talking about the hot topics. You know what just expired recently with the Canelo, Alvarez, and Caleb Plant press conference. First and foremost, if you're in the building, leave some comments so we can talk about this. You know what I'm saying? TZ Frank first on deck. What's good with you? Salute. So, if you didn't see already, or if you have, you know that there was a heated presser that jumped off today to promote the super middleweight undisputed title bout between superstar Canelo Alvarez and also boxing superstar Caleb Plant. Now, people will always sit up here and argue who is a superstar and who isn't. But both of them are stars in the sport. It's supposed to go down Saturday, November 6th, Showtime PPV, MGM Grand Garden Arena. All right. And shout out to Premier Boxing Champions PBC. And this is the crown, the first ever super middleweight world champion, reigning, defending, undisputed title holder. This is a big fight, y'all. This is a huge fight. I would like to say both fighters are undefeated. Canelo seemed to kind of have selective amnesia when it comes to Floyd Mayweather loss, but that's not the case. He has one loss to his ledger, and Caleb Plant is undefeated. So what we're looking at between these two is the presser that kicked off the day, and there was absolutely some physicality involved and some punches exchanged. And I like it. It takes me back to Terrence Crawford and Jose Benavidez. Takes me back to Riddick Bowe, Larry Donald, Sugar Shane Mosley, Ricardo Mayorga, even Mike Tyson, Lennox Lewis. B-Hop, he has his share of, pressers where it got physical. But this one, Canelo Alvarez has been a lot vocal on the back end of his career. He's been a lot more active with, trade verbal sparring with his opponents. When, we can just go back to him and Gennady Golovkin After Canelo Alvarez popped positive, suspended, and came back for the rematch, he didn't even want to be in the same room. I mean, them two didn't even want to be in the same room with one another, him and Gennady. It was barely hardly anything said at the presser. It was nowhere close to this heat right here. And we all know deep down inside it's to sell tickets, okay? But what we cannot deny that the punch was real, the slap was real. You know what I'm saying? Canelo initiated the engagement. Caleb Plant responded. And once, you're already prepared for somebody's walking past you trying to sucker punch you, Caleb Plant slapped him. And then Canelo Alvarez, returned and retaliated from the actions of Caleb Plant. All of this to build up the fight, truly appreciate it. Boxing need much more of it, except that Caleb Plant has now suffered a slight cut underneath his right eye. Okay. People making a big deal over this, but listen, it is and it isn't. It's below the eye. Okay. It's not going to hinder his sight, but he's going to have to get with a doctor real quick. It's almost the end of September. He definitely isn't finished sparring yet. He ain't finished sparring yet. So he's gonna have to work around that cut now. Because he still have like a couple of weeks left. And I'm curious to see how that works out for him. Canelo got mad because Plant told truth about Canelo cheating. I'm gonna get to that, TC Frank, but I ain't say you was wrong. You're absolutely right. Caleb Plant absolutely was successful in getting in Canelo Alvarez brain housing. He was able to get in Canelo's head, y'all. I mean, you rarely see that shit. You want to talk about don't call me motherfucker, don't call me this, don't talk about my mom. Come on, man. Come on, dog. Canelo, and while I praise you for being more vocal and theatrical, then I have to sit up here and criticize you for being sensitive. You know what I'm saying? You can't get up here. Don't call me motherfucker like you a king. No, you free game to this shit. You free game to the trash talk that goes on in boxing. You ain't no damn, you want to put yourself on a pedestal of absolute royalty as if nobody can call you out your name or talk shit to you. Yeah, Caleb Plant did that. He got Canelo Alvarez out of character. He forced him out of character. He forced him out of character, man. So you Canelo fans, don't go up here and act like your boy's a saint and he does no wrong. He the one that pushed Caleb Plant because he didn't like the words that Caleb was speaking on, like it's never been trash talk before. This ain't the first time he heard this trash talk in a fight. He's been there, done that already. The Texan in the building, what's good? On deck, everyone saying Canelo won the physical confrontation, but gave away too much enough for Plant to get a gist of those reflexes. The Texan make a good point. I was impressed with Canelo's catch and shoot, pull counter, whatever you want to call it. He was quick, dog. I cannot take that away from him. But of course, you're going to have some type of immediate response to something that's incoming, that's imminent. He knew after he pushed Caleb Plant, Caleb was going to come back. He wasn't just going to walk up to him and face off. He knew that shit was coming. Perfect example, just like Jose Benavidez. He did the same thing Canelo did. He knew Crawford was going to re-engage and walk back to him, toward him, and swing. And that's exactly what happened. Caleb tried a sucker punch. You know what I'm saying? He tried to sucker punch, catch him with the okie-doke. And you're just not going to do that with an elite fighter like Canelo Alvarez. It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen, man. I can see a shove because they're supposed to be facing off, but, that pull counter, Canelo reflexes, man, was quick, nimble. But let's not be sensitive about the trash talk. Let's not talk about don't say nothing about my mama. Let's not don't call me motherfucker. He called me mother. That's not the first time you was just in the other press conference telling somebody fuck you. So what you talking about? So let me get this straight. You can tell somebody fuck you, but if you put mother in front of it, it becomes that much more poignant. You know, it pierces different. Man, come on now. Come on, man. I like the press conference though. Andrew Charles on deck. What's good with you? WCS salute. I appreciate you. Texan was absolutely right though. Them reflexes of Canelo, that shit was sharp, man. That shit was quick too with the counter. Shit. I love seeing Plant pissing off Canelo. Nobody ever talks shit to Canelo. Let's talk about that. Big dog on deck. What's good with you, man? Salute. Appreciate you pulling up. Salute, WCS. The Texan, yeah, reminded me a lot of Bud Benavidez. Absolutely. Damn near similar. Mitch on deck. What's good with you, King Mitch? Crawford first was close though. them boys up there slap boxing. You're right. That's exactly what Canelo did. I mean, you have to understand, give him credit for the professionalism too. Canelo's professionalism, he slapped Caleb Plant knowing that he didn't want to mess up the bag. If he would have countered with that right, that overhand right on Caleb Plant, he might have opened him up real good, man. Seriously, he might have opened Caleb up and it could have derailed or pushed back the fight. So I'm glad he slapped. He opened palmed. I'm glad. It's professional, man. Canelo just mad because Plant called him out for cheating. So let's get to that. I'm gonna let y'all hear the audio right quick. I'm about to play this audio right quick for y'all. First is gonna be Caleb Plant. It's up on deck.
Themselves. First, a man who is aiming not only to retain his title, his undefeated record, but to become the first ever undisputed super middleweight world champion and to become the new face of boxing. Here is the undefeated IBF super middleweight champion of the world, Caleb Sweet Hands Plant.
What's going on, everybody? Appreciate everybody showing up today. I want to thank Al Heyman. I want to thank my manager, Luis DeCubis, my boxing coaches, Justin and my dad, the rest of my team, my wife, Jordan. I want to thank all my supporters and believers back home in Tennessee, rooting me on. I know that you guys have been supporting me for a long time, and I appreciate that. But, there's only one thing better than proving people right, and that's proving people wrong. And I've been doing that my whole life. Before going to the Olympics in London as an alternate in 2012, before the Olympic trials, before winning the Golden Glove Nationals, before the WSB, before any Team USA I made, before any national tournament or any regional tournament, as soon as I stepped on the stage, as soon as I came on, they started with it. What I can accomplish, what I can accomplish, what I can do, what I can't do. You see, because where I'm from, there is no boxing community. There is no other pros that I could look to and be like, man, if he can do it, I can do it. There were no other boxers that I could look at and be like, he did steps A, B, and C. So this is what I need to do to get it done. I didn't have any of that. I had this, and I had this. You see, I don't do this to be famous. I don't do this to get attention. Because when we first started, we didn't get any attention. No one believed in us. They certainly didn't think that I'd be standing here today. I can remember when we first started, him and my grandfather scrounged up just a little bit of money to open up a little. I mean, it was little. I can remember it was nothing but white tile on the floor. and we had a ring taped off on the floor with nothing but tape. And when we'd spar, we'd stand around and hold hands so that people wouldn't be falling everywhere. When they get sweaty, they'd slip and fall and go through the wall. And I can remember there's one heavy bag hanging in the corner. You couldn't even work around it. It was hanging so close to the corner. But when you really want something, you don't need all the fanciest things. You don't need the latest technology. Like I said, all you need is this and this. So I know a lot of you, when I say that I'm going to win November 6th, because I am going to win November 6th, that you don't believe me. But let me explain something to y'all. All of you who tell me what I can't do and blah, blah, blah bullshit, a lot of you live believable lives, and you've accomplished believable things. But you see, when I set out on this, I promised myself that I was going to run this all the way to the top, where I had no problem crashing and burning and dying on the way. So when I set out to live an unbelievable life and accomplish unbelievable things. So I don't need you guys to believe in me when I say what I say. Matter of fact, I want you to keep doing what you're doing and keep not believing in me, because you're the very reason that I'm here. Like I said, I know that sounds silly to y'all, but you should have seen how silly the faces look when I beat Jerry Odom to win the Golden Glove National. Somebody who was in the finals of all 3 national tournaments that year, knocking everybody out. He was the boogeyman, right? And you should have seen how silly your faces look. And I mean, a lot of you boxing writers, everybody who's going to be seeing this on YouTube and social media. You remember what you said Jose Eustachi was going to do to me? He said he was going to dog walk me. And what happened? He got his ass dog walked. And he got set on his ass twice. So Miguel Cotto's brother can make you do the chicken dance, but I can't? Yeah, okay. Again, I don't need you guys to believe in me. I've been doing it my whole life. So mark my words, November 6th, you will hear the words, and the new undisputed super middleweight. The only difference is right after that, you'll hear the words, and still undefeated. Mark my words. That's funny? You think that's funny? Yeah? Well, keep laughing. You keep laughing, motherfucker, because you know when you're going to find out? Real soon. And you know when you're going to find out?
Okay, right there. Canelo Alvarez, stop it. Okay? I mean, come on, man. This is not one of those sports where all the fighters that contend in, to make a living for themselves and compete to be, someday champions, or compete just to be successful in the sport. They don't go up here to the churches, the local churches and the YMCAs, and look for these fighters. They don't go do a background check. Just because Caleb Plant said, motherfucker, it didn't change the scope of anything that you ever heard in your life, whether it was in English or Spanish. It didn't change the scope. Caleb Plant just set the temperature quick. He started to cook Canelo quick with words. A punch that hadn't even been thrown yet. He started to cook Canelo quick with words, and that's what it was, man.
The same time everybody else found out. And you know when that was? You know when they found out? When it was too late. That's when they found out. And that's exactly when you're going to find out. Mark my words. You bitch. And you a bitch too. You know the only difference between you and him is he's a fat ass bitch and you a bitch. What the fuck?
See, he started to cook Canelo seriously. Like he had to get the water boiling quick. He called his trainer Eddie Reynoso. The only difference between them two is Reynoso is a fat bitch and Canelo is a bitch. I have to make note of this, that I know y'all saw it yourself. I know damn well y'all saw it. Didn't Eddie Reynoso look like Mauricio Suleiman's brother? I mean, come on, man. They had the same type of shades on, the suit, hair almost groomed the same, probably had the same beautician or whatever. Barber. It looked the same. He looked just like Mauricio's brother, man. But give it up for Caleb Plant for cooking, getting the water boiling quick, man, with his words. I mean, the tongue is the sword to life and death. That just proves it right there. For a guy who's usually composed and poised under pressure like this, Canelo was taken outside his square for real, easily.
Fuck you. And you a drug cheat. And you a drug cheat. So tell me something. Tell me something. Oscar Valdez can pop positive for something and not get suspended for 6 months, but he can pop positive for something and get suspended.
Don't make
for 6 months,
excuses.
but somehow
Don't
he's
make
a drug
excuses
cheat.
before the
You're a
fight.
cheater.
Don't make
You're a
excuses
cheater.
before
You
the
went to
fight.
trial. You got suspended for 6 months. You're a
Say
cheater.
whatever you say. See you November 6th. You want to see?
Damn, Caleb Plant was turned all the way up, wasn't he? But what he said was absolutely right. So you trying to tell me Oscar Valdez can pop positive, right? And don't get shit. But Canelo Alvarez pop positive and he gets suspended. So basically what he was trying to say is, in comparison, Canelo Alvarez, you pop positive and it was proven, no matter what it was, the suspension was rendered, and you had to serve a 6-month retro active back to February, I believe, in route to you stepping in the ring with Gennady Golovkin for a rematch. It don't matter what you ate, but what was in your body at that time was considered a banned substance. Oscar Valdez turns back around and pop positive and is allowed to fight. They didn't want to take away the fight in Arizona. They wanted to keep it. It's just a perfect example how boxing is able to cascade and give waivers and passes to certain fighters. The complexion for the protection. People don't want to hear that. I know I used to listen to it myself. And I said, that's absolutely right. You know, they have the complexion for the protection. And Oscar Valdez was protected. Even though I like Oscar, he popped positive. Period. We can't sit up here and keep on talking about his cutting agents and all that. They pop positive for a banned substance on the list. Let's recognize that. Period. Let me get to some of these comments, man. My boy Plant is Tennessee strong. Deshaun Thompson on deck. What's good with you, bro? Tell him, Caleb, they got us fucked up. Yes, sir. Solid press conference. Closed fist led to broken hands. Slaps leads to great promo. Yes, sir. That speech was deep. Yeah, Caleb was talking to him there, Andrew. Real talk. He was talking to him. They rather be told what to do. Believe those people always limit their lives. Plant is calling out the boxing fans and writers for that. True words, man. Check the box. True words, man. Salute the Texan for putting that hundo out there. That's solid. That realism. That's true. Canelo was trying to play the cute one. Word tactics that he used with Andre. Let's briefly mention that. Good attention to detail. Though this Andre was desperate at the time, and he was easy pickings. You know what I'm saying? He's an easy target for Canelo to say payday. You know, and what are you gonna do and all that? Because you know him and his pops look desperate, but Caleb Plant were nowhere close to the Andre. And plus, the words he used, how he worded them, the message was sent on the tip of an arrow. His words, man, pierced a lot of dang Canelo's exterior that we thought he was thick-skinned, but he wasn't, man. Caleb Plant talked his shit, and it made sense, man. He made sense. He's pretty much providing a summation about how people always doubted him in boxing. You know what he had to fight through, being the underdog. How people, you know, he go in the fight with Jose Costegui. And, you know, they were saying that Caleb was going to get beat, and he ended up setting him down, you know what I'm saying, twice in that fight. And he looked dominant. Then, you know, of course, coming into this fight, there's a lot of people who isn't providing Caleb Plant any type of benefit of being able to go in there and beat Canelo Alvarez. And I said myself, it's going to be a tough fight. He's going to have a perfect night in there against the pound-for-pound best right now in Canelo Alvarez. We can talk now about how he made the Rocky Fieldings, the Abney Yildirims, the Callum Smiths, you know what I'm saying, the Billy Joe Saunders, the Sergey Kovalovs. We can talk about how he made them look. Caleb Plant is going to have to supersede those performances given by Canelo Alvarez towards his opponent. He's going to have to be a smart genius of a fighter on that night. Did you hear Canelo Alvarez, what he said already? He was busy up there telling Caleb Plant not to make excuses, right? And all Caleb Plant was doing was talking about the drugs, him being a drug cheat, right? But then Canelo Alvarez turned around and say, he's going to run. So really, you're insinuating the same thing that Abel Sanchez was insinuating with Gennady Golovkin. You wanted a freaking in-house fight. You wanted close quarters, hand-to-hand combat. That's not boxing. That's not boxing. That's brawling. That's fighting. When you know you have a boxer in front of you, it's a lot more areas of concern that you have to deal with for 12 rounds. You saying run, guess what? Why not box, keep your distance, use your footwork, and set up your punches effectively? Nothing is wrong with that.
Something special on you. And feel. Thank you, Caleb. Now we're going to hear.
Pretty much what Canelo said when he came up there is like, see you, pretty much see you on November or whatever. He did most of his talking when he was over there at the table next to his trainer. But was it just me, or did Reynoso turn to Canelo Alvarez when he said he was going to stop Caleb in 8? And Reynoso turned to him. And of course, I didn't hear it. But what do you think Eddie Reynoso told Canelo Alvarez when he said he's going to stop him in 8? Did he tell him, hey, cállate la boca, amigo? You're saying too much? Cállate. You're saying too much. I mean, don't give away the plan. Do you believe that's part of the plan, to go in there and pressure Caleb Plant early and try to stop him in 8 rounds? I mean, because it Reynoso, man, he turned to Canelo Alvarez. Anything like that, but do you think that's their plan? The Texan Canelo was trying to play cute one-word tactics that he used with Andrade. God dang, appreciate you playing this for us because I missed it live. No doubt, man. You know what it is, Andrew. You know what it is, man. Mitch say Reynoso need to shut his deluxe chunky bitch ass up, though. Talking all that Espanol basura. He ain't say shit about Valdez T incident, though. And, that's another thing Caleb Plant brought up. He brought up, you can eat tacos and you can drink tea, and then it's supposed to be all forgiven. I'm telling you, man, Caleb Plant came out with the recipe today. He came out with the stove already hot. Everything was heated. All he started doing is just throwing the motherfucking ingredients in that bitch. He just started throwing the meat of everything. He didn't cut to the chest, none of that shit. He threw the meat on the motherfucking grill. And that was Canelo and Oscar Valdez and Eddie Reynoso. And a lot of what he said was absolutely correct. It's public record, y'all. You can't go out here and be mad at Caleb Plant for being as direct as he was, because he's about to step in there with Canelo, who has positive. You know what I'm saying? And why not mention Oscar Valdez? It's public record. Him drinking tea? Man, come on, bro. Come on, man. Eddie Reynoso, man, he looked like Mauricio Suleiman's younger brother, man, for real. You trying to tell me, come on. You trying to tell me it's no union there between the WBC president and Team Canelo? Please, it's a strong union. So much to the fact they probably get invited to dinner. And then after that, to work it off, they probably go get on them big ass stallions and go out into the pasture down the damn desert and ride them big ass damn show stallions that they got. Come back to the house and drink some of the finest wine. I don't know. Canelo don't give a fuck about Showtime. Um, Hell, I thought it was Mauricio at first. I know Mauricio in the face, he doesn't look that gummy. You know what I'm saying? Like Eddie Reynoso looked like, you know, um, somebody made him up, did his hair and everything, but yet they couldn't do anything with that Jello pudding face he got. They couldn't do anything. That's just gonna, look like it's dripping off damn near. So, I mean, he looked a little chubby, looked a little soft, kind of Michelin man type, like fresh clay or Play-Doh. He kind of gave you that mayonnaise mixed with tuna fish, mixed with some wet bread type feeling. I don't know. Plant invited Canelo to the Frank stand. What up, folks? Michael Johnson Boxing talking more on deck. What's good with you, man? Appreciate you pulling up, my guy. Andrew said, I haven't made up my mind about buying this fight, but I think Plant just made it up for me. I got to see how this plays out now. Yes, sir. Look, let me make it easy for you, man. So support the fight. Yes, sir, man. Support this fight. It's going to be on and popping, man. I think it's going to be on and popping. I'm going for sweet hands. I said it before. I'm going for sweet hands. Like Caleb Plant told y'all, it's not a fighter that he can turn to in Nashville, Tennessee, like all these other regions. It's just aren't fighters that come out of Nashville, Tennessee that you can say, oh man, let's put a list together of some of the best fighters ever. And that list is long. No, it's not. So, man, Caleb Plant was making a lot of sense today on the way he was addressing Canelo Alvarez. He addressed him promptly, strict, and with authority. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't mad at him for getting Canelo out of his comfort zone. Tom, he called the man motherfucker. He said, don't call me a motherfucker. I mean, come on. You use that all the time. You know what I'm saying? Canelo probably cussed out Ryan Garcia behind closed doors. You capping motherfucker. He probably cussed out Ryan Garcia. Stop capping. You capping motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? D Hodges, OG on deck. What's good with you, man? What up, World Combat Sports and Chat? Salute. Appreciate you, D Hodges. How you feeling, bro? The irony, motherfucker's Canelo favorite cuss word. Now he's super offended by it. Absolutely, man. How can you be super offended by something that you have verbalized in the past? You can't be mad. You can't be mad, man. So let's go to this article. It said Canelo said he didn't like Plant calling him a motherfucker during their face-off, so he shoved him really hard. Moments later, Canelo punched him with the right hand to the head. So once again, you're missing what Caleb Plant did on the return. These media guys are gonna report on who they want to. It's just a small cut. It's from sunglasses. I had sunglasses on, so whatever happened, it just scratched my cheek. That's from Caleb. Canelo was taking the term motherfucker literally, perhaps not knowing in the U.S. is used all the time by trash talkers. Given that Canelo is from Mexico and not the U.S., it was lost in translations with him not understanding that Plant was saying what he thought he was. Man, I totally disagree. Canelo know what motherfucker is. Why are we even talking about those two words? Even though that word has gotten many people hurt and killed, I don't know what it does to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Like, motherfucker and fuck you can absolutely get you in a bad situation. And sometimes there's no return. But to be where you at in a full contact sport as Canelo Alvarez, you shouldn't be getting all sensitive about Caleb Plant calling you motherfucker. Come on, man, stop it. Gonna say he was talking about my mom. He said, you motherfucker. This is Canelo explaining why he shoved Plant. He was talking about my mom. He was talking about my mommy. He said, "You motherfucker, you passed the line right there. That's why I pushed him. He came back with the left hook. That's what happened," said Canelo. I don't think that was a left hook. Believe that. I don't think that was a left hook. I just think that was a left cross. And I could have sworn his palm was open. But Canelo Alvarez, man, you making yourself look foolish right now. If you're trying to tell me that you thought he was talking about your mom because mother was in front of fucker. Somebody failed you. And all this time, somebody failed you. All those Mexican fighters out there, and you haven't had enough time to home in your trash talking skills, man. Get the fuck out of here, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Mitch say, on another note, I read the WBC ordered a fight between JoJo and King Cap Sweet Ryan for interim title. Fucking hilarious. Why not order one of those hoe ass mandatories for Haney? See, now we talking. Now we talking. Talk that shit there, Mitch. It's a little bit off topic, but I like engaging. The people in the chat. But for the Caleb Plant, I'm gonna get back to that though. For Caleb Plant and Canelo Alvarez, I would definitely suggest you all ordering the fight. It's gonna be good. It's for the first super middleweight undisputed. That's important. Like I was really looking forward for Jamel Charlo to take the honors of becoming undisputed as super welterweight. Now we have two fighters where you just got to pick and choose who's your favorite. Is it Canelo Alvarez or Caleb Plant? I just always looked at Caleb Plant as a clean cut guy, man. Not much of a trash talker, but if you really met him in person, like I told you, when I was covering him and his team, I had my phone going trying to get that media, and they was basically talking about David Benavidez sending him a contract, trying to get him in the fight camp on a short turnaround, and it was going to be some good shit. But he told me to cut off the camera. I respected it because I was in the elevator with him and his team, so I respected the fact he asked me to cut off the camera. But my ears was able to listen to everything they was talking about, and he was just saying, no one's going to force me to go into a short training camp with a quick turnaround just to overwork my body so I can come in there overtrained. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to give my title away to anybody. And that's when he was coming off the fight. He was supposed to fight Fegan Boots. You know what I'm saying? He was coming out the presser, and it was his whole team. Getting in the elevator. So yeah, I was being nosy because I wanted to get the scoop. But I definitely want to see Caleb go in there and put on a damn good performance, man. I want his performance to be better than Fegan Boots. I want it to be the best performance that he ever basically showed up to work for. I want it to supersede anything that Canelo has had with his other opponents. I want it to be somewhat mentioned in the conversation for Fight of the Year. I want him to go in there and beat Canelo Alvarez. Real talk. I hope Caleb Plant go in there and hang Canelo Alvarez his second loss. It will catapult his career beyond belief. All the negativity that he talks about he faced in his life, and we know he's facing adversity. I know it won't erase it, but it will give him, that a lot more inspiration, or it will give him a better positivity about all the hard work and sacrifice he put in to get to this point and to come to this culminating moment to beat one of the pound for pound best in boxing, future Hall of Famer, Canelo Alvarez. You know what I'm saying? So let's see how this shit play out. Really, let's see how this shit play out. Now back to Mitch's. Hold on for a second. So back to Mitch's comment about the WBC order the fight between JoJo and King Cap. We already know how extremely biased the WBC is. There's some prejudice in there. It's absolutely some discrimination, and it's a thick spread of racism. When it comes to the WBC ordering JoJo King Cap, Ryan Garcia, the question is, why wasn't anything ordered for Devin Haney? Because they want Devin Haney to go up here and scrounge for scraps. They want him to go out here and crawl on his knees, and hopefully, he can get someone that wants to fight him without the help of Mauricio Suleiman in WBC. How can you order JoJo and Ryan Garcia, but not give anything? Just like Mitch said, how can that happen? How can that happen? How can you sit up here and go to a alternative, a backup plan, so to speak, instead of going right to the primary task at hand? The primary task at hand is Devin Haney mandatories have been dissolving without even stepping in the ring with him. How do you consider that fair? That's not fair, man. That's blasphemy when it comes to boxing, who already has several hundreds of thousands black eyes in its history. You're gonna go up here and try to order a JoJo and Ryan Garcia because it's an all Mexican affair? WBC is showing you who he support in the sport of boxing. He's showing you that. Does he have to be any clearer? He's showing you who he support. He want to make damn sure that you get the picture, and make y'all understand that you can't do shit about it. They want Ryan Garcia to step in there with JoJo, who looked okay against Javier Fortuna. Right? They don't want to put him in there and get that Devin Haney, that 10-round Devin Haney that he gave Jorge Linares. They don't want that. They don't want that smoke, man. If you think Luke Campbell was making Ryan Garcia miss with that lead left hook, right? What do you think Devin Haney's going to do to Ryan Garcia? He probably throwing dislocated shoulder trying to hit Devin Haney. But yet they're trying to put Ryan Garcia in there with a slower fighter. Jojo Diaz is the correct style and the more easier style for Ryan Garcia to step in the ring with. It's blatant, man. It's blatant. Mark Nash in the building. Salute to you. The Texan says, I keep getting vibes or whatever. Andre Ward would play mental chess with all these bully-like fighters and expose their contradictions. Elite American fighters peep that easily. I always said to myself that, Andre Ward, in my opinion, I gave him a check and an X. All right. I checked the box that he was able to, retire from the sport on his own free will. I saluted the man for that. He was in control. You know what I'm saying? We're talking about a gold medal Olympian who went up here, who was able to achieve the championship pinnacle. He was able to leave the sport on his own free will. Right? He wasn't forced. But also the X come in like, man, I wanted to see more of Andre Ward. Definitely, I wanted to see more. And him being out of the sport, wearing the corporate label now, getting paid. He says no way that he's returning to the sport. But I'm always curious how much Andre Ward could further in his career if he was to get back in training camp and to return for a fight with Canelo Alvarez. I always look at, could Andre Ward go in there and really give Canelo Alvarez that work to further, add another medal to his credentials. I would like that. He's a very smart guy. You know what I'm saying? Very smart guy. Very respected in the sport. But I always look at it like I felt he left the sport just a little bit too early. It was still some wins out there for him. It was still some legacy fights out there for him. But we'll see what happened, man. I say as long as he stay around Timothy Bradley, he'll continue to get attention. Because them two be doing and saying some shit, man. I'm like, damn, come on, Ward. The shit he said about Deontay Wilder, he retracted. You know what I'm saying? I mean, people don't understand, but corporate will give you that order. Corporate will do that. They will give you that order, say, hey, I need some people to tune in to you for the wrong reason. All right. I know you're a good guy, but I need you to go out there and put some controversy out there so people can start talking about you. Okay. I want them to pay attention to you for your boxing analytics and experience, but also I need for you to put some wordplay out there. I want you to give that controversy. I want you to provide that negative energy because I need you to have a group of trolls that's talking about you, and I need to have your fans talking about you. Now, haters say Devin ain't fought nobody, but don't mention these guys ducking him in plain sight. I have mentioned the guys that Devin has fought, okay? But also, I will say this, Mark, that the guys who are ducking him, per se, more so became much more of a topic of discussion when the mandatories was the conversation. Like you're talking about Javier Fortuna. You can't put Teofimo Lopez in there. Okay. A lot of people try to say that Teo went the IBF route. He went the IBF route to get what he get. It wasn't the duck Devin Haney because the shit was never promised. The WBC tournament fell apart. And it ended the way it ended. Devin Haney agreed to fight for what? Interim title. They wasn't fighting for a title eliminator. So when it come to Javier Fortuna slipping, okay, we know that. Javier Fortuna, he got then retreated. Who else was in that? Who else was in that groove? Ryan Garcia? Ryan Garcia said he got his attorneys and said, nope, I'm not fighting him. Who else was in there? I mean, it was down there. Jojo Diaz was in there. Everybody just fell in line with this shit on not wanting to fight Devin Haney, bro. And at first I was like, I felt Devin Haney can get the fight that he wanted. But also my criticism was, and y'all can look back at my lives, my criticism of Devin Haney was that it was going to take more. It's going to take more from him, knowing he's a black fighter, than IG, for him to go out here and establish his legacy. The money isn't going to matter too much. You can show the fans that you're making money, but when it comes to this boxing game and legacy, you need to do more. You need to somehow, some way, find a medium so you can get these fighters to step in the ring with you. When they're up here telling you that you ain't fought nobody and you're a boring fighter, well, guess what? I gave kudos to Devin Haney and Bill for listening to the fans. For a long time, I didn't think they really gave a damn what the fans thought. But when the fans start speaking about, his opponents, even I mentioned he hadn't fought nobody, I was absolutely critical of Gamboa. But yet the way he went in there and fought Jorge Linares, I say they listening, because that was absolutely different from what we used to seeing from Devin Haney. And I appreciated the sweet signs that he put on. We already knew Devin Haney was a complete boxer, so to speak, right? We already know he had the suit, he had the tools, you know what I'm saying? He dressed up nicely when you want to say sweet signs. But the opponents that's on his resume didn't add up to the name that they was going to try to portray as being big in the sport of boxing. But when he fought Jorge Linares, close quarters, and he was making them miss, and he was touching them, and it was so tight. It was beautiful combinations. Well, I mean, very dressed up, technically sound, disciplined, sharp, on target. I said they listening to the fans because he fought a little bit different. But now these fighters like Javier Fortuna, Ryan Garcia, Jojo Diaz, they're looking at the way he fought Javier Fortuna, and they're questioning themselves like, damn, especially Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia said, damn, Luke Campbell made me miss several times. What the fuck Devin's going to do? The one hit that they can always land on the jaw of Devin Haney is his lack of power. All right? His lack of power. Even Roy Jones had mentioned that it's going to be tough for Devin Haney moving up, having okay power. You know what I'm saying? He's not a heavy hitter. That's one thing that's going to always be first and foremost. Can he hurt a fighter when he moves up? Can he go in there with that speed and his agility and that amazing thing, boxing science that he delegates in the ring? Is it going to play out the same way when he move up in weight against fighters who has power? And also, we've seen him hurt with a punch from Jorge Linares in the 10th round, where the fight fans pretty much erased everything he had did up to that point. Now we can take a lot into consideration that it was fans over here that's just hating on Devin Haney. You know what I'm saying? They was just finding any way to hate on him because, you know, Jorge Linares, you know, Mexican fans or whatever. So they didn't want to give him his props. But you have to acknowledge the fact that Devin Haney, from the first round up to that point in the 10th round, he was boxing Linares' ears off. What do you think he's going to do to Jorge Linares? I mean, what do you think he's going to do to Javier Fortuna? Ryan Garcia? What do you think he's going to do to those guys? Javier Fortuna and Ryan Garcia? Because Jojo Diaz, I remember they saying Jojo Diaz and Devin Haney's in talks. Jojo Diaz and Devin Haney's in talks. And then I tell people, don't really take into consideration anything about that. Don't play it in your mind because it's bullshit. It's just to get you to dangle that bait out there for you to tune in and say, guess what? This fight's about to happen. And then they ain't nowhere close to talks, man. They can be in talks by sending a damn private message to them. And then somebody get wind. Hey, so-and-so's in talks. But I admit, Devin Haney has some haters. You know what I'm saying? He has some haters. A lot of boxers has haters. You know what I'm saying? And I was criticizing Chris Colbert. You know, I never really considered Lomachenko to be, you know, this astounding boxer. I always said he was overrated. Same go for Anthony Joshua. One of the most protected boxers in the sport. No one's really talking about his fight with Oleksandr Usyk. They busy up there juggling balls, you know, in a juggling contest over there. Anyway, back to boxing. I always believe Ward could have gone into a cruiserweight World Boxing Super Series and beat Usyk in the finals. I missed the World Boxing Super Series. I missed the Super 6. I really do. I miss those boxing tournaments like that, man. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to see no damn WBC tournament where they pretty much pack it in with who they want, and they already, you know, they put the right judges in there so they can get the predetermined winner that they want. I don't want to see that. I like the WBSS. You know, I'm speaking on multiple topics, but you know, I'm just puzzled a little bit as to why Regis Prograis can't get another title shot with Josh Taylor when they fought at the WBSS. You know, when Regis Prograis had dropped out the WBSS because they said, oh, it's a lot of funny shit going on over there with the money and all that. It's just this and this. And I was like, damn, Regis standing up. Okay, cool. You know, he holding, you know, his square, and he don't like what he getting. Cool. And then, you know, he tried to act like that him and Adrian Broner may fight. And people was trying to say, oh, he dropped out of the WBSS because he's going to fight Adrian Broner. I'm telling people, I said, I just saw Adrian Broner. That fight ain't happening. He's way over. He ain't making no 140. But then Regis fumbles, you know, he has a little back and forth with Broner here and there, jumps back in there, loses his title to Josh Taylor. And then, you know, he's out, he's recovering, doing this, that, and the other. And then he most recently had a fight against Ivan Redkach, which Redkach, he should have got an Oscar for his acting ability because Regis Prograis didn't even come nowhere close to his groin shot. I guess it was the wind. I guess the AC was on down in Mercedes-Benz Stadium down here. And when I was looking through my lens, I was like, what the fuck is Redkach doing? Why is he acting like Regis punched him in the balls and he didn't? And the ref was trying to get him to get up. And Redkach, look, I was right on. I was right on the money. When I saw Redkach in the hotel, and it wasn't really a team with him, and he was looking goofy. I knew he wasn't there for a war with Regis. It's just something, the vibe, the energy that he was giving. I said, he ain't here to fight. And sure enough, Regis was in there making good work of him. And Ivan Redkach bailed out to the point where he had to be carried out on a stretcher, man. He quit. I guess he was still, you know, a little bit goofy and drunk from that Tank video that was out when Tank had him on wobbly noodle, ramen noodle legs. I told y'all months ago, Golden Boy was going to find a smaller guy to pull up for star boy Ryan. Here comes little JoJo after one fight at 135. Yes, sir. It's pathetic, ain't it? Not only that, Mitch. They want a slower guy. They want a slower guy. Look, they want a slower guy. I have to assess the situation to a point where I have to now credit Devin Haney as a primary player in the lightweight division outside of his resume. Because like I said before, the names on his record is subpar, really. You know, I'm looking for a big name like a Teofimo Lopez, Vasyl Lomachenko, Ryan Garcia. But now I totally understand off what I've seen that these fighters are absolutely ducking him. Teofimo Lopez don't want to fight him. You know, it was talks about Vasyl Lomachenko, but somehow, some way, you know, Vasyl want to step in there with Teofimo Lopez. Bob Aaron's trying to make that fight. Now Teofimo's coming out tomorrow. No, it's not going to be a rematch. You don't know what to expect in boxing. How Ryan Garcia going to be the mandatory and then get his attorneys to call off the dogs? Say, no, I don't want to fight them, Devin Haney. I don't want to fight him. I don't care what y'all say. Get my attorneys on there. I ain't fighting him. So who's gonna fight him? He's gonna now. I'm not gonna be as disappointed if he goes out here and fights somebody that's not in the top 5, so to speak. Because you have these fighters that's ducking them. Period. They're part of the Duck Masters Coalition. The number one Duck Master pound for pound. The number one Duck Master pound for pound in front of Joshua is Ryan Garcia. He's the pound for pound boxing Duck Master. Period. Nobody else. Ryan Garcia. A man called out Gervonta Davis. You know what I'm saying? He want to act like, you know, him and Devin Haney's friends, and he gonna fight Devin Haney, come to mentor. No, I don't want nothing to do with that. I'm gonna go to Gervonta Davis. No, I don't want Gervonta Davis. I'm gonna go to Pac-Man. No, it was nothing ever in the works for him and Pac-Man. Moving on. Andre is great. His body can't make it though. Another camp though. Head, shoulders, knees, and toes looking at. Fuck with Ward though. I pick him over Canelo if he was still active. It'd be interesting if Ward was still active. You know what I'm saying? I never really had Ward as one of my special fighters, to be honest. Like, I just didn't, man. I respected him as a boxer. But like I said, I just felt he had more to prove before he stepped out the sport. You know? That's all. Not off a 3-year layoff. Nah, he can't just come back with no tune-up and step in there with Canelo. If he does, he knows something we don't know. Urine and cup. You know what I'm saying? Usyk had a real shot to beat AJ robotic ass. Nah, man. Usyk don't have a real shot to beat AJ. Even though AJ's chin is suspect, look, Usyk is suspect as a fighter at the heavyweight division. He did not look superb against Derek Chisora. You know what I'm saying? He reminds me of the David Hayes. You know, he reminds me of those guys who moved up the cruiserweight but never quite filled into the heavyweight division. Alexander Usyk, man, I just don't see anything special with him. And you know what as I do? Anybody tell you? I do not like Joshua as a fighter, man. I never met him as a person. As a fighter, I don't like him. I think he's very, very predictable. His mechanics is like he need WD-40. He throw the same damn combinations, move back, bite on feints a lot. And his chin is proven to be wet styrofoam. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is, man. I'm not paying for the fight. It's going to be $24 too. It's going to be $24. So y'all want to shoot me that cash app? I'm gonna give that shit to charity. Regis know he can't get a shot after Taylor went with top gank, flop rank. Yeah, it's unfortunate for Regis because I'm saying to myself, dang, that'll be a pretty decent fight with him and Josh Taylor right now. He should get to run it back because he had a title going into that fight. So once again, Regis doesn't want to move up to 147 right now. But yet, who is in the shoot for him to fight at 140 that makes sense? I mean, he just can't go in there and tread water when Josh Taylor has all the belts. You can't just tread water in that division and go nowhere in your career and just fight for a check. What are you going to do now? You're too heavy to move down to 35, and you're not confident enough to move up to 47. So what you going to do? Mitch say, sick of all these clowns calling out AB. Regis disrespects AB, but sniffs around Mikey's ass just to be stood up while Mikey takes a tune-up and make him wait. Man, damn, you going in today. But you're right, though. He did kiss Mikey Garcia ass. Why not? Mikey Garcia is a big name, and he'll get paid some good money fighting Mikey Garcia. But Mikey is going around here kicking empty cans, man. You know what I'm saying? You know how you walking down the street and you come across this alley and you hear this rumbling, you see a dude, just kicking a damn can down the alley and shit. That's Mikey Garcia. He's like, Mike. He turned around, man, what you doing over here? Nothing. I'm just thinking. I'm just clearing my mind. Man, go ahead and fight Regis. And you better watch yourself, man. It's getting dark out here. You need to get back. You need to get out of city limits, man. Cause you know where Regis from. I say, Mikey, Regis might catch you back in the alley, man. But calling out AB is the norm right now. Unfortunately, AB cannot make 140. And then, AB himself want to fight at the catch weight in between, 140 and 147. Now say, how do you feel about this WBA boxing off they doing with Ugas? I mean, it's not the first time that they somewhat did an eliminator or whatever they trying to do. The WBA trying to clean itself up from, first of all, saying that they was going to clean up the sport by eliminating titles, by eliminating some of this WBA regular title positions, right? And then they turn around and have the Fox Maestre catastrophe, corruption at its best. Not only that, the fact that the guy stepped in the ring with a glove that was absolutely wrapped to cause damage. It was wrapped outside the regulations. It was wrapped, and this just proves my point when people was up here telling me like that ain't true. The commission signed off on Maestre's gloves. And when I said this shit goes on the top level, people didn't want to take in consideration because I guess I ain't have 50 or 60 people in the live chat. But I say this type of stuff goes on the higher stage. I just don't want to get too much in detail about it because I still want to, be able to cover the fight. Here we go. Prime time television. What happened? Maestre is in there with a glove that is wrapped incorrectly by a trainer who manipulated and massaged the cushioning of the glove, the filling of the glove to the wrist of the fighter. And why that padding was massaged, or the filling or whatever, massaged to the backside of the knuckles, they wrapped it while it was back there. Therefore, provide less padding in the knuckles and allow him to go in there and for his punches to feel that much harder against Fox. And Fox still went in there and beat that ass. After they made that man changed it. They made him change the shit, dog. And Fox went in there and won, and they robbed him. Maestre only had 3 fights, I believe. 2 to 3 fights, I believe. The reason why they allowed him to fight a fighter like Fox with all that experience that Fox had was because of his amateur pedigree. That's all. WBA trying to clean their ass up. They trying to be a good guy now because of all the controversy. And it forced them to take that title from Maestre. And now I think Maestre does not want to fight Fox again. So we don't know what the hell is happening. We don't know what's going to happen with that. But I was kind of getting the impression that the WBC is bleeding over and influencing the WBA to feel that since they're next door neighbors on the sanctioning body list of hierarchy, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to clean themselves up. They're trying to do some shit to get people's attention for the interest of boxing and not the corruption of boxing. Mark Nash, I'm not mad at it, but the WBA is full of shit. They let Keith and Manny hold them belts for years. Soon as Ugas wins and beats a legend, they want to box off. Shows how much they value Ugas. Mitch, I look at it like this. Look how Ugas got the belt, first of all, right? I'm glad they did not reinstate Manny Pacquiao, but I wish they did, and Crawford would have been able to fight him, hopefully. But give it up for Ugas being able to catch that fight with Manny Pacquiao. Heavy leg Pac. You got to call him a heavy leg Pac. Was able to go in there and beat heavy leg Pac and win that fight and defend his title. Just because they want him to have some box off or whatever, that's not the first time it happened in the sport. You know what I'm saying? They just trying to find a way to get that title into the right hands, either Crawford or Errol Spence. They don't want Ugas holding that title. Just like they want to undisputed in the heavyweight division, they definitely want the undisputed at the welterweight division with the right names. The undisputed in the welterweight division cannot be Ugas versus Crawford. It cannot be Ugas versus Spence. People are not going to really pay. I don't care if he got a key to the freaking Wizard of Oz. A lot of people still don't know Ugas. And there's a lot of people that still don't support him like that just because he's a WBA champion and stepping in there with an old 43-year-old Pac who will be 44 this year. Should be good for Ugas because he should prevail. No big paychecks though. He'd be better off fighting Thurman for a nice bag, and that's a winnable fight for him, given Thurman's inactivity. I would like to see Thurman, who was the prior title holder of that WBA strap at welterweight division. Absolutely, I agree with you, Mitch. I would like to see Thurman, but he's been inactive, and we truly don't know what's going on with him. But I used to say it would be good for them to acknowledge Thurman was the title holder of that WBA title. Manny Pacquiao took it away and then had a hiatus. Boxing took it away from Manny Pacquiao, and then they gave it to Ugas, and Ugas did what he needed to do, turn back around, and they wouldn't reinstate him, allow him to fight Pacquiao. He beat him. Now Keith Thurman, who used to hold the belt, it would be good to see him back in there with Pacquiao. I like Thurman, but I don't know what's going on with him mentally as far as his motivation to get back in the ring. That's the big question with Thurman. We don't know. Mikey said he's fighting at a catch weight at 145. Why though? Like, what are you trying to do? What weight did he fight Jesse Vargas at? Did he fight Jesse Vargas at a catch weight? I mean, what is he trying to do? Is he trying to get down to 140 to fight Josh Taylor? What is Mikey Garcia trying to do in between time? Fight at catch weights between junior welterweight and welterweight, man. Come on. Mikey act like, I swear, Mikey act like he bored with all that money. Look, you would think somebody who took 2 years out the sport to get himself out of a top-ranked contract, spent over $1 million in legal fees, start selling real estate, showed that he was a man about his, you would think he'd have a better game plan now, because he lost 2 years of his boxing career trying to get out of Bob Arum's contract. And when he finally was able to come back to the sport, when he finally got the fight with Errol Spence, people was like, oh man, this is why he did what he did, so he can make the fights like this with Errol Spence Jr. and make the top dollar. Well, what happened after Errol Spence? What happened? I mean, what's all these big money fights? Jesse Vargas definitely ain't it. I'm here for AB versus Amir Khan at 147. Loses forced to retire. Win against Kell Brook. Man, AB might end up knocking Amir Khan out, man. I'm just saying. Amir Khan, I mean, we're talking about aluminum foil, confetti. We're talking about wet paper, a bit of mayonnaise and tartar sauce, all that packed into his chin compartment. That's Amir Khan's chin right there. Cookie dough. Amir Khan is fighting safe fights right now. What Terrence Crawford was able to do to him, he definitely would have stopped Amir Khan. If Amir Khan wouldn't have quit, Crawford would have stopped him. For him to go in there with a guy like Adrian Broner, who's never been stopped. Adrian Broner has never been stopped. That's why people still respect him, not just in the streets, but in boxing, regardless of how he lost. You know, those losses on his record, regardless of how he lost. That's why people still respect that man. Because he is tough. He knows his defense. I mean, hey, we just need that AB who was fighting for his life against Marcos Maidana, you know, after he had been knocked down. We need back that AB. Well, we can't get the 35 AB. We can't, that's too much. We can't request that. But can Amir Khan go in there and make it an outside fight against AB and AB don't let his hands go? Absolutely. He can do that. He has pretty quick hands. He can make it a boring ass fight just to get AB on his resume. I definitely don't think Amir Khan and Kell Brook would do 14 freaking views. Seriously. Amir Khan and Kell Brook, we're talking about 14 and a half. You know what I'm saying? Views. It's not going to be PPV. I'm talking about free TV. 14, 15. It's according to when it is. Crawford would have did Pac-Man like Drago did Apollo Creed. Man, he would have blasted the shit out of damn Pac-Man the way he did. Heavy legs and all. Crawford would have did him dirty. Did him super, super dirty, y'all. At the very least, Crawford beats Pac-Man like Clubber Lang did Rocky in the first. Mikey's opponent wanted to catch weight. I don't know what's going on with Mikey, like I said, but he's a 4 division champion, and he should have a bit more motivation towards his career right now, picking out some opponents. I mean, it's nobody out there to fight Mikey. Step back up to 47 and fight Jerome Ennis. Allow him to put your name on his resume like you did Spence. You allow Spence to put his name on your resume, his resume. Go there and fight Boots Ennis. You know what I'm saying? Allow him to have that. You have one loss. Mikey Garcia has one loss on his record. And you're just gonna say, okay, I made this whole big deal about I see things that people don't see. I see something different with Spence. Yeah, you saw his glove, goddammit. You saw his motherfucking left and right glove, dog. That's what you saw, Mikey. That's why you ain't trying to go back up there like that and fight a big name. People think you boring as shit. You know, the only thing that holds true on Mikey Garcia is his hair, dog. Is his hair. Mikey Garcia's hair don't move. I'm here for Haney versus Lipinets at 140, though. Lipinets, Mitch, Lipinets is at 47, dog. Lipinets is not coming down to 40 to fight Haney. And why would he fight a fighter with the hand speed and the foot movement as Haney? We all know how slow Lipinets is. Why would he want to do that? He was getting touched up by Mikey Garcia when Mikey beat him for his belt at 140. So why would he drop down from 47 to 40, being that he's basically a true 47 right now? Why would he drain himself and take another L against Haney outboxing him? That would be crazy, bro. That'd be super crazy. But I like the the options, you putting out there. We need something. We need something. We need some fights like Montana Love gave Baranchik. I like that type of excitement. That's something Adrian Broner is more than capable of doing, because we already know that Adrian Broner can give some counter shots. And make it interesting whenever he chooses to increase his volume, but he just chooses not to do it right now. But the little time that he did it against Jesse Vargas, people was like going crazy, like, oh shit, look at that. It was pretty to watch, man. Who does Spence take for his tune-up return in late 2022? I want him to take a tune-up this time, knowing him, he won't. He'll probably be looking for Ugas. That's if Ugas still has the belt, though. So check this out. So Porter steps in there with Sean Porter in November, right? Errol Spence will still be out in 2022. Nowhere close to even coming back. That's if his injury was serious. So Terrence Crawford go defeat Sean Porter. Why can't Porter get a shot at Ugas? Why can't we switch some shit up for this undisputed? Why can't we consolidate the belts a little bit better? Because that would pretty much, after Errol Spence come back, just say he get a tune-up with somebody. You know what I'm saying? Corey Spinks. He get a damn tune-up with somebody. I'm not gonna mention too many of them dudes' name, but shout out to Corey Spinks, man. Cool cat, dog. But okay, Errol Spence get a tune-up. And then near the back half, the back semester of 2022, we can get, Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. Terrence Crawford has the WBO and the WBA title, Errol Spence the IBF and the WBC. Please don't wait. Please don't stall out just to say we want Ugas to fight Errol Spence because that's a big paycheck for him. I think it's a pretty decent paycheck for him facing Crawford too. It'll be a very competitive fight. I know Crawford for a fact takes that belt from him, but Ugas buzzing right now a little bit. Ugas, he's buzzing. He got one of the finest finest ladies in the game, and he was able to go in there and put a legend like Manny Pacquiao. I think he was. How old was Manny when he stepped in there with Ugas? Like 56 years old. He put a legend, an 8 division champion on his resume at 56. So he's buzzing right now, dog. To answer your question, Mitch, I don't know who he takes. Who does he take? Let's see right quick. Let's see who he takes. Who can be a good name for Errol Spence? It's gonna be nobody that I'm pulling up right now. I'm just gonna let you know. It's gonna be absolutely nobody that we're pulling up. So let's pull this up since the question was asked. All right. Let's pull this shit up. Let's figure this out, man. Let's figure this out. Hold up. I'm waiting for this to process, man. Oh, man. I might have to go back into this joint, man. Y'all hold on for a second.